Oeming, a lot of people actually, like over 5, wanted to know what it was like for you to work with Mike Mignola and what the process was of working with Mike Mignola, who I know is one of both of our heroes, but really an important person to you.
It was really cool because.
And what did you work with? You worked on
BPRD. We did a single issue called Souls of Venice, or Soul of Venice. And at the time, Mike was living in New York, and I live in New Jersey, so it was really cool. Most of our meetings about stuff, it was written by Miles Gunter and myself, and I drew it, but Mike oversees all the Hellboy type stuff, you know. And specifically on the cover, I had done a little sketch, sent him the sketch, and then he took that sketch and did another little sketch to just kind of move things around a little bit. And got to go to his apartment and hang out with him there. And it could be a strange experience with somebody who you at one time worshipped goes to being somebody you worship to being a peer to being a friend. And that's what kind of happened over the process of that. And to me, that was just the best thing. Like I hardly think of Mike about his art anymore. I mean, even though I constantly have it laid out, you know, in my mind, whenever I'm drawing something, I'm trying to not draw like Mike Mignola. Or in my mind,
yeah, I had the same problem.
Yeah, there's like an invisible light box on my table, in which, to me, there's like Mignola drawings underneath it, and I'm just drawing on top of it. You know, I mean, it's that in depth into my.
So I had a very similar situation with him. I asked him to do an issue of Marvel Team Up, and he said no. So that was really special for me.
I actually talked to him about that. I remember having a conversation about that, and literally he just said like in the mic voice, like there's no reason to.
No, I remember he said, who are you, and why do I have to draw Spider-Man?
No, he knows he doesn't get it.
I know.
That's what it is, so that's what he was saying.
Hey, David, how long is Kabuki? I got quite a few people ask that.
Regular comic size.
No, but the story's been going on now for 15 years, 17 years?
Yeah, I started, how long?
How long, yeah, like how long is there an end in sight?
Yeah, I started working on it in January of '93 is when I started to put pen to paper. Started publishing it in '94. So far, the current story, The Alchemy, from Marvel's Iconic Print right now, it'll be the 7th volume when it's collected. And yeah, I do have other stories lined up.
Like?
In the future.
Like?
Well, for some of the other, I've done some of the other sort of secondary characters in their own yeah. So I'll probably do some more of those, probably like I do with Scarab, in between some of the Kabuki stories that I work with. And it'll probably give me an opportunity to work with another artist like I did with Rick Mays on Scarab. And I do have the story written out. I've always thought of it as like a biography of this character from childhood on up, and I do have the story written out, sort of outlined where the character dies. So I have that death story eventually too.
Yeah, like, are you able to see how clearly, like, I can see how much of you is in Kabuki? Do you see it while you're doing it, or do you see it like after it's done?
A lot of times in retrospect, like when I look back at the first volume, I can see stuff that I was working out in the story now that I didn't realize completely I was working out at the time. So I can see that to a degree. And in the current story, The Alchemy, a lot of it was, I started this story with this idea of, here this character has sort of left previous employment and thinks like, is at this place where a lot of people are when they get out of college or high school or between jobs, and they think like, wow, what do I do next? What am I really here for? How do I figure that out? And once I figure that out, how do I make that happen? And in the course of all the other time that I put into the book, I sort of developed certain principles, certain creative principles that you develop, but also you can see how those creative principles that you use in your work also kind of hold up in your real life in a certain way. Yeah, so it gave me an opportunity to, very consciously in the current story, to sort of use Kabuki's point of view to sort of map out some of those principles and kind of a blueprint for sort of taking those dreams and making them a reality through the course of the book. And you can look at it as just the characters doing that, but I did have enough retrospect now on so many years of Kabuki that I could, in other work, that I could look back at it and say like, oh, here's sort of stuff that's worked in our creative process, but it was also sort of worked. Like doing a creative process every day is almost like a metaphor or practice for making like real stuff happen in your life every day. So I kind of use that very consciously in the current story. But it was probably more unconscious than previous stories.
Because I'm kind of fascinated by that, and you talked about this recently, how you look back at something you wrote and you realized you were screaming for help, or like, you know, in your work and not even realizing you did it. And there's been stuff even in the most mainstream of my work where I wrote something, I don't remember writing it, to be frankly, and like either doing with tragedy or just good things or just anger that you're looking for an outlet for, and you put it in the work without even realizing you're doing it. You read it 4 years later and you remember that guy and you go, holy shit, thank God I have an outlet, you know.
So that's what the monkey issue of Powers was about?
Yes, that's what I'm saying, yes.
That's the monkey sex issue.
Before we go, we're going to go out to you guys for questions in a minute, but a lot of people asked you, Mr. Oeming, they're very aware that we were arguing online recently about a scene in Powers that you were not happy with, which was, and no kids in the audience, right? Good. Okay, Queen Noir in Powers had a masturbation scene, and Mike drew a version of the masturbation scene. He wasn't not.
What part of his life was he working out?
That's him working out my thing, because we're arguing about it. So
you were very
he's doing a scene where
out
she literally was zapping her private area with her powers. And
well, yeah,
I said, you're arguing. I'm just we should have had a PowerPoint for this. But anyway, he drew with her zapping it with powers, and I thought he didn't read as what it was supposed to be. Where I thought just close up on her face, it says you can see there's things going on down there. We don't have to see it, right? Mm-hmm. So we argued.
You're so restrained.
And this is
we don't need to see it.
See? So what was very funny was Mike, I woke up in the morning, Mike had taken the 2 pages and emailed all of our peers, including like our boss, Joe Casada, and everyone going, which one's a better masturbation scene? This one or this one? Because this one shows something special. What Brian wants to do just looks like any typical superhero masturbation scene. Like the pile of famous superhero masturbation scenes that we were just aping right over. But I remember the best response was Quesada going, seriously, what's wrong with you guys? You guys know what you're doing? Like, you guys really, no one cares. And so I said, listen, but the vote went my way, and I said, would you post your page? And you posted your page and said, this is an outrage, and blah, 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 and everything. The question was, are you still bothered? So I think we know the answer.
Actually, no. The thing that bothered about more than that, there's a new. Actually, it's a second masturbation in Powers that has me upset now. Is when.
See, now I'm just.
If you people are just reading the trades, this is what you get for not buying the issues, because I'm totally spoiling something for you. Cover your ears with your children's ears. So when Satan masturbates onto Walker's face, that's not a joke. When Satan masturbates on a Walker's face, and it was all the things that I drew. And I'm drawing people exploded. I got anatomy books out, and there's hearts and lungs.
You want to do proper research for this.
Well, this one, he made a pentagram, and he
that's right.
He the demon and said,
I call it racist.
So I had to draw this thing, and it's just, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all the way out, and there's like Satan with like 10 cocks in his hand, and holding down Walker, and he's like, you're going to stop this investigation.
I swear to you guys, pages of sketches.
Yes.
Should Satan's cock look like this, or Satan's cock look like
this? I settled on some sort of weird Akira kind of look. But anyway, when it was colored so dark, people couldn't tell. I would say to them, what's going on here?
All that effort for nothing.
Exactly. I totally got all gay on myself for nothing. So that I'm upset about. We have to recolor that.
Any questions?
That page we have to recolor.
Am I imagining this?
No, I got drunk this exact thing, but I wasn't wearing pants. Anyway.
The wizard people are shutting the machines off.
This whole thing's going to make it onto the website.
A giant black strip bar.
All right, we're going to take it out to you guys.